Good evening, everyone, and welcome for this Medicine Buddha Puja. I hope you can hear me well. I think it's okay. Let us take a moment before we start the puja just to arrive on our seat here at Tushita, on the cushion, at home in front of your device. Just coming, trying to be fully alert, fully present for this puja, leaving our worries outside, feeling the seat under our body. We can start by taking 3 long, slow breaths. Every time we inhale, trying to refresh our attention, and every time we exhale, trying to relax. And now to further increase our concentration, let us do a 5 minutes shamatha practice. Shamatha is Sanskrit for calm abiding in English, that's the literal translation. Basically what we are trying to do is a single pointed meditation. We are trying to focus single pointedly on a single object. So for that I'll quickly explain the instructions again, because I see new names here, so maybe some of you are not too familiar with how to do this practice, so I'll try to be quick. The first thing is that we are looking at our body posture. Ideally sitting on the floor, but if you are sitting on a chair, it's also perfectly fine. Just make sure you're not leaning against the support of the chair, not leaning forward either. If you're sitting on a floor, the ideal is to sit in a full lotus posture, meaning each foot on top of the opposite leg. That might be a little bit challenging. Make sure you're not pushing your body. Make sure you are sitting comfortably. You can simply sit cross-legged, or even a half lotus, or even Burmese style, with one leg in front of the other. You can place your hands in the concentration mudra. So that means you have your right hand on top of the left, the 2 thumbs are slightly touching, and this mudra rests on your lap. The most important thing is for the back to be straight, for your body to be upright. When it comes to the body posture, that is the most important part. But even though the back is straight, it is not stiff, and in fact the shoulders are relaxed, they're even. The neck is also relaxed, aligned in a continuation of the spine, so you can very gently tilt the head forward, but not too much. You can place your tongue just behind your upper teeth, towards the upper palate. This helps to reduce the production of saliva when you meditate. And finally the eyes, we keep them slightly opened, allowing some light to enter, keeping us alert. But we just gaze in space 1 or 2 meters in front of us, about 45 degrees cast down, without actually paying attention to whatever appears in front of our eyes. It is the mental consciousness that meditates. So this posture is known as the 7-point Buddha Vairochana meditation posture, and out of the 7 points, the most important is for the body to be upright. Now the second instruction when it comes to shamatha practice is that we need an object to meditate on, an object of focus. So if you're familiar with this practice, you can keep the object you're the most familiar with. And if this is new for you, what I would suggest is to use the breathing sensation at the entrance of the nostrils as an object. Try to place all your attention there at the entrance of the nostrils, and more specifically, the sensation, the feeling when you breathe in, when you breathe out. See how it feels when you breathe in, when you breathe out. Perhaps you feel it is a little bit cool when you breathe in, a little bit warm when you breathe out. And try to focus on that without being distracted. Now there are two more instructions for this practice. So as I was saying, we tend to get distracted when we meditate. We try to grab an object and keep focused. But the more we grab, somehow the more, it tends to go and we lose the object. So we are usually distracted with thoughts, with mental excitement, or with lethargy, with laxity or dullness. So mental excitement, basically, thoughts are coming. We are thinking about the past, thinking about the future, thinking about something that happened today, something that might happen tomorrow or tonight. And therefore we lose our object of meditation. The mind wanders and is not focused on the object of meditation anymore. The second way we tend to get distracted is laxity or dullness or lethargy. The mind is sinking. We have this tendency to fall asleep, especially after a long day, for example. Keeping the body upright, keeping the eyes slightly opened already help with that. But the two main antidotes, this is the last instruction for this practice, the two main antidotes against any kind of distraction are introspection and mindfulness. Introspection is like an agent in the background of your mind that is checking, what is my mind doing? Is it meditating or is it distracted? And the moment introspection notices that the mind is not focused on the object of meditation anymore, we make use of the second antidote, which is called mindfulness. And the role of mindfulness is to bring the mind back, wherever it is, to bring it back to the object of meditation. And making sure it remains on the object of meditation. I always use this analogy that you can imagine if you have a pet dog at home. The dog runs away from home. Introspection will notice that the dog is gone. Mindfulness will bring the dog back home, and you can also imagine tying him against a pillar so that the dog remains at home. It is similar to what we are trying to do with our mind. So let us try this for about 5 minutes, trying to remain on the object of meditation. And every time we get distracted, making sure that we notice it. And every time we notice that we lost our object of meditation, making sure we use mindfulness to come back to the object each and every time. 5 minutes. gently come out of the meditation. And now that our minds are hopefully a bit more focused, let us try to establish a Mahayana motivation for this session, a bodhicitta motivation. Bodhicitta is Sanskrit for the awakening mind. It is the wish to achieve full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Now, why do we want to do that? Is because we recognize, as Serkong Rinpoche was saying last night, that ourselves and all sentient beings are trapped in the vicious prison of their own mind. That vicious prison in Sanskrit is called samsara. And the root, the very root of that mental prison, the very root of samsara, the root of all our problems, the root of all our pains, miseries, suffering, the root of all our mental afflictions, all our negative experiences and so forth, is what Rinpoche was saying last night. It is the self-grasping ignorance. Now, what is self-grasping ignorance? It is this mistake that we make not only since we are born, but since time immemorial, since beginningless time, since countless past lives. This self-grasping ignorance has been with us. And the mistake that we make is failing to recognize that all phenomena, including the self, are devoid of independent existence. The mistake that we make is that we apprehend absolutely everything, ourselves, the phenomena that surround us, other people, events, actions, even our thoughts. We apprehend everything as existing very solidly, intrinsically, objectively, independently from anything else. And this self-grasping ignorance gives rise to what we call technically the inappropriate attention. Basically, all of us, we have this, again, mistaken apprehension that we are the center of the universe. Innately, we feel that everything revolves around us. We feel like we are the most important person in the universe. If we actually check carefully, this doesn't make any logical, reasonable sense. Because in fact, absolutely every sentient being every being that possesses a mind wants to be happy and wants to avoid miseries, wants to avoid pains, wants to avoid suffering. Each and every sentient being shares that same wish. So why is it that we feel so important, that we feel more important than others? This inappropriate attention gives rise to many sorts of disturbing emotions, mental delusions, afflictions, such as anger, jealousy, desire, pride, anxiety, depression, and so on and so forth. We want to cherish that being that we feel is the center of the universe, that is more important than others. So, for example, if we don't get what our attachment wants, then we tend to get angry. And then what happens? We engage in all sorts of actions that are negative. Killing, stealing, cheating, lying, abusive speech, divisive speech, gossiping, and so on and so forth. And every time we engage in such an action, it leaves a very negative imprint on our mental continuum that is commonly known as a negative karma. And every negative karma we have accumulated in the past, countless of them in countless past lives, inevitably at one point or the other, will ripen in the form of an unpleasant experience. An experience of pain, an experience of suffering. Now, because of the self-grasping ignorance that we have, even the positive actions we engage in, the so-called positive karmas, for example, helping others or practicing generosity, saving lives, and so on and so forth. Even those actions, because they are done with the apprehension that we exist truly, that the recipient of the good action exists truly, inherently, intrinsically, and that the action itself, the good action, we also apprehend it as existing independently. So because of that, even the positive actions, the positive karmas, they are contaminated by this innate ignorance, by this self-grasping. And therefore, yes, they will ripen in the form of a pleasant experience. They will ripen in a positive experience, an experience that we will enjoy, but within samsara, within cyclic existence, meaning we don't have any control. We have accumulated countless positive and negative karmas since beginningless time. We don't have any control. We don't have any choice which karma will ripen first. This lack of control is precisely what samsara is. This lack of control is the exact misery of samsara. It is the third type of suffering that Rinpoche was mentioning last night, the conditioned suffering. Meaning that against our will, without any control, we constantly take rebirth again and again and again. Since beginningless time, because of the karmas we have accumulated, because of our afflictions, because of the inappropriate attention, and all of that is rooted in the self-grasping ignorance. Let us try to generate the wish to completely get rid of that self-grasping, that inappropriate attention, those disturbing emotions, karmas, samsara. Let us try to generate a sincere wish to be free from suffering totally, to be free from pain, from misery. And try to expand that wish to all sentient beings who are in the exact same boat. Try to wish for each and every sentient being, leaving none aside, to be completely free from suffering and the causes of suffering that are all rooted in this self-grasping ignorance. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. And let us also try to generate a sense of responsibility. Just recognizing that the vast majority of sentient beings don't have the opportunity that we have now, that is called the precious human rebirth. Meaning not only are we born as human beings, but we live in a world where the Buddha appeared, the Buddha taught, his teachings are still very much available, there are many followers, there are many sponsors also who help the disciples of the Buddha. Not only that, we are interested in the Buddha's teachings, we are interested to look inwards, interested to look at our minds, to look at our present condition. We are interested to do the mental work that has to be done to break free from samsara. And having all this is extremely, extremely rare. The precious human rebirth. Having all these freedoms, leisures, opportunities, having this interest to look inwards is so rare. You can just look at the level of the planet. Last night, for example, Sarkong Rinpoche was teaching here, and this was accessible worldwide. How many people did actually listen to Rinpoche talking about the mind? I don't know, here we were about maybe 20, 30 people out of the 20 plus million in Delhi NCR. And online, I think in total, Zoom and YouTube, we were about 150, something like that. So in total, last night, about 180 people max listened to Rinpoche. Now how many humans are on the planet? More than 8 billion human beings. Most of them were more interested in listening to the new president of the US, talking about all sorts of things instead of listening to Rinpoche talking about the root of all our problems. So very few among the humans have the very precious human rebirth. And now when we talk about other forms of existence, such as animals, for example, if you just compare on this planet the number of humans with the number of ants, leaving all the other animals aside, there are countless ants, on the planet. It is said that animal realm, there are so many beings in there that it looks as if the human realm is empty next to it. And then if you look at the even lower realms, such as the pretas, for example, if you look at the number of pretas that there are, it looks as if the animal realm is totally empty next to it. So imagine how rare it is to be born human, and even more rare it is to be interested to look at the mind. So let us try to generate a sense of responsibility for all beings who don't have the opportunity that we have at the moment. Let us try to generate a wish. Not only may they be free from suffering or the causes of suffering, but I myself will free them from suffering and the causes of suffering. I will do the work of transforming my mind. I will eliminate all my afflictions, all my disturbing emotions. To the root, I will eliminate the self-grasping ignorance. And liberate all sentient beings from their miseries. Now, how can I do that? I myself am a victim of this self-grasping ignorance. I myself am under the control of the afflictions and experiencing the karmas that I have accumulated in the past. So if we look in the history of humanity, there is one example, 2,500 years ago. A being who was born as Prince Siddhartha, who showed us the middle way, who showed us how out of unbearable compassion, immense compassion for all sentient beings, how it is possible to eliminate all the disturbing emotions, all the mental veils, and achieve the state of full awakening, the state of a Buddha. Which is also known as the state of omniscience, knowing perfectly how to guide sentient beings, knowing the past, the present, the future, knowing the various dispositions of beings, being able to guide them unmistakably, being able to guide them perfectly. This is what fully awakened beings do. So let us try to give rise to this most beautiful mind, bodhicitta, by wishing, may I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings. Now, with this motivation in mind, let us turn to the Medicine Buddha practice. So actually, this is a practice that is most beneficial in those degenerated times. The Medicine Buddhas, there were 7 of them along with Shakyamuni Buddha, so we count them as 8 Medicine Buddhas. In the past, when they freshly generated bodhicitta, this mind that we just tried to emulate, when they freshly generated it spontaneously, sustainably, when they became bodhisattvas, they made strong prayers of aspirations that in the degenerated times that we are going through right now, when any person will pray to them, they will immediately come and help and, benefit whoever prays to them in those times. So it is, in the sutric system, it is actually the most powerful practice that we can do. The most powerful deity in the sutric system in those degenerated times. Whenever, someone around us or ourselves is suffering from sickness, or someone around us, passed away, someone experiencing difficulties, obstacles, mental problems, or even someone harmed by spirits or something like this, then turning to the medicine Buddhas can really make a difference quite fast if we sincerely pray with a good intention. So try to bring to mind, the people who are suffering around you, and also the people who passed away recently. We might wonder, how can us practicing medicine Buddha can benefit somebody who just passed away? So, when we pass away, what happens is that our consciousness is kind of propelled to the next life, depending on, of course, the karmas we have accumulated in the past, but because there are countless of these karmas, which one will ripen of these countless seeds will be determined by the mental state, at the moment of dying. So for many beings, the mental state at the time of dying is a mental state of fear, like, I, very strong sense of I is dying. This body is going to, disappear. I'm going to lose my family, my possessions, be separated from them. This is one of the most common, mental state at the time of dying. So that is not a very positive state of mind, is it? So what happens when we die with such a state of mind? Most likely, in most cases, the karma that will be triggered will be a negative karma. Leading us to an unfortunate rebirth in the lower realms. So how can someone, in the intermediate state, in the bardo between two lives, be benefited by our practice now, somebody who passed away recently? Is that the merit that we accumulate when we do such a practice, the positive potential, the mental potential that we accumulate when we do such a practice, if it were not for that person that just passed away, we might not make the effort to sit, to practice medicine Buddha. We might not make the effort to pray. But because of that person, we are doing the effort and we are accumulating this merit of doing these mantras and recitations, visualizations. So by us being triggered by that person to do these practices, accumulating merit, that person also receives, some amount of merit, because that person is the trigger for us to do these practices. Someone like me, for example, who is very lazy, very difficult to actually sit and do a puja or do a meditation. If somebody in my family, suddenly gets sick, then I will make the effort for that person. And then we can see actually that, I have many examples around me of doing this very practice of medicine Buddha for people who, were diagnosed with cancer, for example. Then without even telling the person, that we are doing prayers for them, that we did this and that puja or this and this practice, then suddenly, the person goes again to the doctor, does some scans, and then so many stories like that. Then the doctors, they don't understand, the cancer is just not showing anymore, disappeared, completely gone. And the person doesn't even know, that this practice was done for them. So, let us turn to page number 7, starting with the visualization of Medicine Buddha. Here at Tushita we have a beautiful image, and we have a statue as well that might help for the visualization. So try to visualize as best as you can, to imagine mentally that about 4 inches above the crown of my head is a lotus flower. In the center of the lotus, there is a white moon disk. And on this moon disk is seated my root guru, the Dharmakaya essence of all the Buddhas. And tonight he is appearing in the form of Medicine Buddha. His body is made of a radiant blue light. So try to imagine, hollow body made of light, about 6 inches tall above the crown of your head, shining a beautiful radiant blue light. His right hand is in the mudra of granting sublime realizations and rests on his right knee and holds the stem. Sorry, I think I skipped the line. No, it is right. His right hand is in the mudra of granting sublime realization, and it rests on his right knee and holds the stem of an arura plant between the thumb and first finger. Then his left hand is in the mudra of concentration and holds a lapis lazuli bowl filled with nectar, a healing nectar, nectar of medicine. He is seated in the full Vajra position and is wearing the 3 red-colored robes of a monk. He has all the signs and qualities of a Buddha. Trying to visualize as best as you can Medicine Buddha on your crown. Try to also visualize all sentient beings seated on your sides and behind you, starting with your father on your right, mother on your left. Male family members, female family members, male friends, female friends, difficult people, so-called enemies, and all sentient beings we don't know. Countless sentient beings. Try to visualize as vast as you can all sentient beings sitting with you and doing this practice. Especially those we are praying for today, those who are sick, those who recently passed away, those who have obstacles. And let us recite together at the middle of page 7, the refuge and generating bodhicitta verse. Let us recite this verse 3 times as if we were leading all sentient beings into this prayer, as if we were, like the chant master for all sentient beings to recite the same prayer. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By my practice of giving and other perfections, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. And then to strengthen our bodhicitta even further, let us generate the 4 immeasurable thoughts. May all sentient beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness that is without suffering. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free from both attachment and hatred, holding some close and others distant. Especially for the benefit of all sentient beings, I will quickly, very quickly, attain the precious state of perfect and complete Buddhahood. For this reason, I will practice the yoga method of Guru Medicine Buddha. So next, let us engage in the 7-limb practice. You can see actually in any, sadhana, in every deity practice, these 7 limbs will be there. They are really known as like a quick way to purify a lot of negative karma and accumulate a lot of merit, a lot of positive potential to transform our minds by doing some visualizations, some meditations. So let us stop at the end of every sentence to contemplate for a few seconds the meaning of what we just said, trying to visualize as best as we can. I prostrate to Guru Medicine Buddha. So try to visualize as vast as you can, prostrating, making full length prostration to Medicine Buddha and all the countless Buddhas in front of you, and prostrating not only with this current body, but imagine prostrating with countless bodies, countless past lives, countless future lives, all prostrating to the Buddhas. Prostrating as a sign of recognizing that the Buddha has eliminated all the mental veils, completely eliminated self-grasping ignorance, completely eliminated even the cognitive veils, and achieved the state of full awakening. So when we prostrate, basically what we are, wishing, what we are showing is that we want to achieve the same state, awakening. Prostrating is recognizing our mental state, recognizing we are trapped in the mental prison of self-grasping ignorance and wishing to break free from that, wishing to achieve the state of a Buddha. Each and every offering including those actually performed and those mentally transformed, are present to you. So again, let us visualize as vast as we can, not only the offerings that are arranged here of water bowls, lights, incense, flowers, food, drinks, and so on and so forth. Let us also try to incorporate all the offerings that are arranged everywhere in the world where there is a Buddha image. For example, we can think of Bodh Gaya around the Mahabodhi Stupa, under the Bodhi tree. How many thousands of water bowls are arranged here? How many lights? How many flowers, fruits, and so forth? You can visualize as well at the big stupas in Nepal, for example, Bodhanath Stupa, Swayambhunath Stupa, all the offerings that are arranged there. In Tibet, in the temples, the big monasteries, and the big monasteries in India, in South India, where His Holiness the Dalai Lama is now. Imagine the countless offerings that are arranged there. Tashilumpo, Saraje, Kanten, Drepung, Min Rolling Monastery, and all these monasteries. Imagine all the lights, all the flowers, all the water bowls, all the food offerings, and so on and so forth. In all the Dharma centers around the world, let us visualize and transform all these countless offerings into oceans, into skies of blissful nectar. And visualize that we offer these skies of blissful nectar to countless Buddhas. Each and every Buddha receiving a set of these skies of blissful nectar. And because the Buddhas, the awakened beings, are numberless, our offering also becomes numberless. And thereby the merit we accumulate by doing this simple visualization also becomes numberless. I confess all non-virtuous actions accumulated since beginningless time. Let us just open our hearts to the Buddhas, just recognizing the state we are in, recognizing that in the past we have accumulated countless negative karmas, harmed others, and let us generate a healthy sense of regret for all these negative actions by simply wishing, not wanting to experience the results of these negative actions, which is an unpleasant experience in the future, an experience of suffering, an experience of pain. It's not about feeling guilty. Guilt doesn't serve any purpose. It's just wishing not to experience suffering in the future. I rejoice in the virtues of both ordinary and noble beings. You know, with Lama Zopa Rinpoche, whenever we were doing a sadhana practice where the 7 limbs were there, most of the time we would rush through the 7, but Rinpoche would always make us stop at this 4th limb, the limb of rejoicing. Because it is so powerful. In just a few seconds, rejoicing in the good deeds of others, we can accumulate so much positive potential to transform our mind. We can start by rejoicing, in the awakening, all the activities, all the deeds of the Buddha Shakyamuni, 2500 years ago, the countless teachings that he gave tirelessly for so many decades. I can rejoice in all the holy actions of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, tirelessly all his life, teaching, helping. Even now, I think His Holiness is 89 years old, showing the aspect of aging. And in, this winter, going to South India, Tashilumpo, and 3 times a week meeting thousands of people, one after the other. People coming to meet His Holiness, who is 89 years old, to receive a blessing. Can you imagine at 89 years old having the energy to meet so many people? And all his life, tirelessly, all the projects that His Holiness started and led, managed. Unbelievable. We can think of all the actions of other lamas and rinpoches, geshes, teaching tirelessly, guiding others, helping others. Let us also rejoice in the activities of the ordained Sangha, living in vows of morality, trying very hard to subdue their minds, engaging in extensive studies, extensive retreats, meditations, engaging in offering service to monasteries, dharma centers, dedicating their whole life to those activities. Wow, wow, wow. Let us rejoice in all the activities of the students and the practitioners, the sponsors, the people who offer service to dharma centers, monasteries. Let us rejoice in all the good actions of our friends, families, as well as our own good actions. Next is a limb of requesting. As our guide, I request you, O Buddha, to please abide well and turn the wheel of Dharma until samsara ends. So in this sentence, it's actually 2 limbs in one. Requesting our Guru, tonight taking the aspect of Medicine Buddha. For example, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, if His Holiness is our Guru, requesting him to live a very long life, a healthy life, to continue and abide, to continue and benefit us in this form. You can visualize offering him beautiful, numberless thrones with double vajras symbolizing immortality, indestructibility. And then requesting him to teach. Can visualize offering him numberless beautiful big Dharma chakras, Dharma wheels. Requesting him to turn the wheel, to teach, to guide us, to lead us out of samsara. Then finally the limb of rejoicing. All virtues, both my own and those of others, I dedicate to the ripening of the two bodhicittas and the attainment of Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. So this limb is very important as well. With the 6 prior limbs, we, purified a lot of negative karmas and accumulated a lot of merit, especially when you try to do these visualizations extensively. So now let's say a neighbor comes and shouts at you, you did this, you did that, then you get angry. And in just a moment of anger, all this positive karma, all this merit completely washed away by that moment of anger. As well as actually eons of positive potential accumulated in the past, washed away in just one moment of anger. So when we dedicate our virtues properly towards full awakening, it is a little bit like, let's say you have a lot of cash in your wallet and putting that cash in the bank, to prevent robbers from taking it. Let's say you are in the street with all this cash on you. So if you run into a thief and he steals your wallet, if you have put all your cash in the bank, then you didn't lose anything. So dedication is a little bit like putting our merit in the bank until awakening, so that it cannot deteriorate, especially with anger. Next we can turn to page 9. Make a request together to Guru Medicine Buddha. I beseech you, Bhagavan Medicine Guru, whose kite-colored holy body of lapis lazuli signifies omniscient wisdom and compassion, as vast as limitless space, please grant me your blessings. I beseech you, compassionate Medicine Guru, who hold in your right hand the king of medicines, symbolizing your vow to help all pitiful sentient beings plagued by the 424 diseases, please grant me your blessings. I beseech you, compassionate Medicine Guru, who hold in your left hand a bowl of nectar, symbolizing your vow to give the glorious undying nectar of the Dharma that eliminates the generations of sickness, old age, and death. Please grant me your blessings. Then we'll turn to the simplified visualization, which is on page 14. So keeping the visualization of Guru Medicine Buddha above the crown of our heads, we'll make these requests to him 7 times. And then we will engage in the mantra recitation of the name of Guru Medicine Buddha. The fully realized destroyer of all defilements, fully completed Buddha, having fully realized the absolute truth of all phenomena, Guru Medicine Buddha, King of Lapis Light, to you I prostrate, go for refuge, and make offerings. May your vow to benefit all sentient beings now ripen for myself and others. The fully realized destroyer of all defilements, fully completed Buddha, having fully realized the absolute truth of all phenomena. Guru Medicine Buddha, King of Lapis Light, to you I prostrate, go for refuge, and make offerings. May your vow to benefit all sentient beings now ripen for myself and others. The fully realized destroyer of all defilements, fully completed Buddha, having fully realized the absolute truth of all phenomena. Guru Medicine Buddha, King of Lapis Light, to you I prostrate, go for refuge, and make offerings. May your vow to benefit all sentient beings now ripen for myself and others. The fully realized destroyer of all defilements, fully completed Buddha, having fully realized the absolute truth of all phenomena. Guru Medicine Buddha, King of Lapis Light, to you I prostrate, go for refuge, and make offerings. May your vow to benefit all sentient beings now ripen for myself and others. The fully realized destroyer of all defilements, fully completed Buddha, having fully realized the absolute truth of all phenomena. Guru Medicine Buddha, King of Lapis Light, to you I prostrate, go for refuge, and make offerings. May your vow to benefit all sentient beings now ripen for myself and others. The fully realized destroyer of all defilements, fully completed Buddha, having fully realized the absolute truth of all phenomena. Guru Medicine Buddha, King of Lapis Light, to you I prostrate, go for refuge, and make offerings. May your vow to benefit all sentient beings now ripen for myself and others. The fully realized destroyer of all defilements, fully completed Buddha, having fully realized the absolute truth of all phenomena. Guru Medicine Buddha, King of Lapis Light, to you I prostrate, go for refuge, and make offerings. May your vow to benefit all sentient beings now ripen for myself and others. So now, maintaining the visualization of our teacher in the aspect of Medicine Buddha above the crown of our heads, we'll engage in the mantra recitation. And while we recite the mantra, try to visualize as best as you can that purifying rays of light are pouring down from the heart and holy body of Guru Medicine Buddha, eliminating your sicknesses and afflictions due to spirits, as well as the causes of all the sicknesses and afflictions, all the negative karmas, mental obscurations, and imagine that your body is completely filled with light and becomes clean, clear like crystal. Then these rays radiate out in all directions, purifying the sicknesses and afflictions of all mother sentient beings. So we can recite the mantra for about 10 minutes. So while we recite the mantra, trying as best as we can to do this visualization, Guru Medicine Buddha, his body made of radiant blue light above the crown of our heads, about 6 inches tall. From his heart and holy body, purifying rays are pouring down, filling our entire body. Our body transforms into beautiful radiant light, and that light radiates in all directions, purifying the obscurations of all sentient beings. So we'll recite the middle mantra once and then the short mantra. So we'll recite also once together, and then we can recite at our own pace in silence for about 10 minutes. Om Namo Bhagavate Bekanse Guru Bedurya Prabharajaya Tathagataya Arhare Samya Sambuddhaya Deyata Om Bekanse Bekanse Maha Bekanse Raja Samurgare Swaha. Sorry, the mantra is on page 13. Deyata Om Bekanse Bekanse Maha Bekanse Raja Samurgare Swaha. Diyatam bekanze ma bekanze raja samurgare swaham. Now let us visualize that Guru Medicine Buddha melts into light and absorbs into our hearts. Our minds become completely one with the Dharmakaya, the essence of all the Buddhas, becoming completely one. Our body, speech and mind transform into the body, speech and mind of Guru Medicine Buddha. Try to imagine for a moment what it must be like to have the body, speech and mind of a Buddha. Having a mind that is perfect love, perfect knowledge, perfect power. Having countless bodies and speech that are only there to benefit others. A mind that is so vast, constantly thinking of countless sentient beings. A mind that is always perceiving the emptiness of objective existence of all phenomena. Try to imagine for a moment what it must be like. And with the awareness of emptiness, of objective existence of all phenomena, let us dedicate whatever merits we have accumulated in this session, as well as all the merits of the three times of ourselves, all the Buddhas, and all the sentient beings. And due to these merits, at the bottom of page 14, due to these merits, may I complete the ocean-like actions of the sons of the victorious ones. May I become the holy savior, refuge and helper for sentient beings, who have repeatedly been so kind to me in past lives. By the virtues received from attempting this practice, may all living beings who see, hear, touch, or remember me, even those who merely say my name, in that very moment, may they be released from their miseries and experience happiness forever. As all sentient beings, infinite as space, are encompassed by Guru Medicine Buddha's compassion, may I too become the guide for sentient beings existing throughout all 10 directions of the universe. Because of these virtues, may I quickly become Guru Medicine Buddha and lead each and every sentient being into his enlightened realm. We can also dedicate so that the wars that are happening around the world immediately come to an end. May there be no new war, may there be no famine, may there be no epidemic, may there be no financial crisis, may there be no natural disasters and catastrophes of the elements. May peace and happiness prevail in everybody's hearts and lives. Then we can turn to the long life prayer for His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Incomparably kind and supreme Tenzin Gyatso, the wish-granting, wish-fulfilling jewel, source of every single benefit and happiness in this world, may you have a long life and all your holy wishes be spontaneously fulfilled. Then we can turn to the return prayer for Lama Zopa Rinpoche, swift return prayer. And I will recite the one that was composed by His Holiness the Dalai Lama. Peerless teacher and assembly of the children of the victorious ones, Shravakas and Pratekya Buddhas, victorious Losong father and sons, along with the lineage masters, all the objects of refuge of infinite lands, please bestow the virtue and goodness of accomplishing this prayer here and now, holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings, through explanation and practice. You are the armor of patience that is never discouraged, incomparable, venerable Guru. To you I make request. While striving single-pointedly for the sake of the victorious one's teachings, the sole gateway through which all benefit and happiness emerge, and for modern living beings, you suddenly departed to peace. What a great loss! Nevertheless, through the undeceiving truth of the blessings of the ocean of the three jewels, and the great waves of bodhicitta of the children of the victorious ones, may the smile of a reincarnation swiftly beam in glory for fortunate disciples. Thank you very much, everyone, for joining. And I wish you a beautiful evening or a beautiful day if you're in some other part of the world. And we will see you soon at Tushita. So this week, tomorrow, unfortunately, we don't have, usually on Wednesdays we have our online debate classes. Tomorrow it is not happening. But we have, in the morning, we have our guided meditations from 9 to 9:30 a.m. Indian Standard Time, Monday to Friday. And on Saturday, we have a visiting teacher. We have Venerable Lundup Jamyang. Many of you, I guess, know her. She came to Tushita many, many times. And she used to teach a lot also in Dharamshala. These days, she's based in France at Nalanda Monastery. She's the teaching assistant for the basic program, for the master's program, which is a 7 year course of very intense studies. So she's helping the students to understand the teachings. There is a geshe who's teaching, and it can be so technical, receiving teachings from a geshe for 7 years. So she's helping the students to understand what the geshe is actually teaching. So she is coming to Delhi just for 3 days, and she will be teaching the whole afternoon actually on Saturday from 3 p.m. to about 6:30 p.m. with a chai break in the middle. And she will be teaching on how to develop a compassion that is also wise, not just being compassionate for the sake of being compassionate. And sometimes when we have a good heart, we can also make mistakes. So how to be wisely compassionate, So this will be this Saturday. And then on Monday, on Monday and Tuesday, we have Venerable Thupten Wangdu, who is coming for the second time to Tushita. Venerable Thupten Wangdu, he is an Austrian monk who has studied in Italy and in France, actually. Together with me, we studied at Nalanda Monastery. And now he's the resident teacher of Tushita in Dharamshala. in Tushita Dharamshala they have like 2 or 3 retreats happening every month, 2 or 3 10 days retreats. And so he's teaching most of these courses that are happening there with hundreds of people, coming and hearing about Buddhism for the first time most often. And he also guided meditations for several years there at Tushita, and also for the month-long November courses at Kopan Monastery in Nepal. He guided the meditations there, where these courses Lama Zopa Rinpoche used to teach. And so Venerable Wangdu, he was leading the meditations. Very good friend of mine who was very knowledgeable, a very good example. Such a pure monk, a very amazing example. So I encourage you to attend Monday and Tuesday at 6:30 p.m. Then next Saturday, next week, we have Venerable Sara Treasure coming, also for a whole afternoon from 3 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. with a chai break. And so Venerable Sara, she is one of the elder, like one of the senior nuns in the organization, in the FPMT. She has been studying with Lama Yeshe and Lama Zopa Rinpoche for, I think, 43 years, and she was a very close disciple of Lama Zopa Rinpoche. And so ever since Lama Zopa Rinpoche took the aspect of passing away, almost 2 years ago, she has been, involved in organizing so many prayers for his swift return and pilgrimages and pujas and things like that. And I requested her to come here so we can do these prayers together with her and also share stories about Rinpoche. The first session before the chai break, actually, mostly she will be sharing stories, and also any of us who met Rinpoche in the past, we can also share any story that we have with Rinpoche. And then the second session we'll do prayers. Not only the prayer we have done now, but also His Holiness the Dalai Lama recommended the disciples of Rinpoche to recite a prayer that is called Chanting the Names of Manjushri, which takes about 45 minutes to read. So we'll do that together with Venerable Sara. And then the next day, the Sunday, 2nd of February, at 11:30 a.m., we will have the first of a series of contemplation sessions with Venerable Gyalten Samten, who I'm sure also many of you know, because she used to live here at Tushita in the past. And the last 4 years, she was doing a solitary retreats in the mountains. And she just came out of retreat, and so requested her to, come back and do some sessions here. And so she chose to do sessions about the 4 essential thoughts, which are the precious human rebirth, death and impermanence, suffering, and karma, which are really essential thoughts, because when we talk about compassion or emptiness, if it's not rooted in these thoughts, if we don't recognize our precious human rebirth that is very temporary, and that, when we die, we could be reborn in a very low realm with a lot of suffering and all the karma we accumulate and so forth. So if we don't consider these, then bodhicitta, emptiness, and so forth doesn't make a lot of sense. So these are very essential thoughts that we will contemplate with her, starting on Sunday, 2nd of February, 11:30 a.m. in person and online. And actually a registration is required for the sessions with Venerable. Of course, they are also free, donation based, but it's just for us to have an idea of the number of people who will join, because there will be handouts, like course materials and so forth. So I think tomorrow on our WhatsApp group, we will post the link to register for those sessions with Venerable Gyalten Samten. And yes, that is it for now. There are more things. You can check our calendar, more things happening in February, but for the 10 coming days, this is the program. Thank you very much. Have a good night and see you soon. Bye-bye.